Hey guys, it's Bliss here. Welcome back to day 3 of my Spooky Week series. In today's video, I'm talking about pumpkins, specifically the origin of the jack-o'-lantern.
I was just thinking about the life of a pumpkin. Grow up in the sun, happily entwined with others. Then someone comes along, cuts you open, and rips your guts out.
In 19th century Ireland, Sutherland, and Somerset, they traditionally carved turnips. For some, they were simply used as a light source, but for others, they may have carved faces into them to represent souls in purgatory or to ward off evil spirits. In Somerset, the carved turnips were called punkies, and Halloween was called Punky or Spunky Night. The word punky was another word for will-o'-the-wisps, a phenomenon of a strange light flickering over beet bogs, but were often said to be souls of unbaptized babies in English folklore. There is also evidence that turnips were used to carve what is called a Hobart's lantern in Worcestershire, England, at the end of the 18th century. In my juvenile days, I remember to have seen peasant boys make what they called a Hobart's lantern by hollowing out a turnip and cutting eyes, nose, and mouth therein in the true moon-like style. And having lighted it up by inserting the stump of a candle, they used to place it upon a hedge to frighten unwary travelers in the night. It wasn't until European immigrants brought this tradition over to the US that pumpkins started to be used instead of turnips, likely because they were much easier to work with.
I don't know. I was going for ferocious scary, but it's coming out more dryly sardonic.
It does appear to be mocking you with its eye holes.
Yet its nose hole seems sad and full of self-loathing.
The name jack-o'-lantern is linked to the story of Stingy Jack, or Jack of the Lantern, an old Irish folktale from the mid-18th century. There are many different versions of this story. This is just one of them. As the story goes, in a village in Ireland, there lived a drunkard known as Stingy Jack. Jack was known throughout the land as a deceiver, manipulator, and scoundrel who played tricks on people and stole from them. On a fateful night, Satan overheard the tale of Jack's evil deeds and silver tongue. Unconvinced of the rumors, Satan went to find out for himself whether or not Jack lived up to his vile reputation. Typical of Jack, he was drunk and wandering through the countryside at night when he came upon a body on his path. The body turned out to be Satan. Jack realized somberly this was his end. Satan had finally come to collect his malevolent soul. So Jack made one last request. He asked Satan to let him drink ale before he departed to hell. Finding no reason to acquiesce the request, Satan took Jack to the local pub and supplied him with many alcoholic beverages. Upon quenching his thirst, Jack asked Satan to pay the tab on the ale, much to Satan's surprise. Jack convinced Satan to transform into a silver coin with which to pay the bartender. Satan did so, impressed upon Jack's unyielding nefarious tactics. Jack stuck the now transmogrified Satan coin into his pocket, which also contained a crucifix. The crucifix's presence kept Satan from escaping his form. This coerced Satan to agree to Jack's demand. In exchange for Satan's freedom, he had to spare Jack's soul for another year. Exactly 1 year later, Jack happened upon Satan in the same setting as before, and he seemingly accepted it was his time to go to hell for good. As Satan prepared to take him to hell, Jack asked if he could have one apple to feed his starving belly. Foolishly, Satan once again agreed to this request. As Satan climbed up the branches of a nearby tree, Jack surrounded its base with crucifixes. Satan, frustrated at the fact that he had been entrapped again, demanded his release. As Jack did before, he made a demand. that his soul never be taken by Satan into hell. Satan agreed and was set free. Eventually, the drinking took its toll on Jack, and he died. Jack's soul prepared to enter heaven through the gates of St. Peter, but he was stopped. And Jack was told by God that because of his sinful lifestyle of deceitfulness and drinking, he was not allowed into heaven. Jack then went down to the gates of hell and begged for admission into hell. Satan, fulfilling his deal with Jack, could not take his soul. Instead, he gave Jack an ember from the fires of hell to be placed in a turnip to be used as a lantern for him to see as he wandered the earth for all eternity. So that's all I have for you guys for today. If you liked this video, make sure to come back tomorrow for day 4 of my Spooky Week series. See you in the next one. Bye.